Baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by People's United Bank NA, where know-how brings you Touch ID to your mobile device. The Pacific Ocean waves rolling in as the Yankees get ready to play the first of 10 straight on the road. It begins with 3 in San Diego at Petco Park. Predictably beautiful here tonight as we take a look at the Yankees starting lineup. It is presented by Lexus. Jacoby Ellsbury will lead off and play center field. He was just 5 for 26 on the homestand. Brett Gardner in the 2-hole. Mark Teixeira gets the start in the 3 spot. Brian McCann will clean up. Starlin Castro batting 5th. Chase Headley playing 3rd base. The former Padre bats 6th. Didi Gregorius, a red-hot June, has his average up to 290, hitting 7th. Aaron Hicks in right field will bat 8th. Still no Carlos Beltran. Meredith will have more on that in a little bit. And, of course, we are in an NL Park, so Nathan Eovaldi rounds out the Yankees starting lineup. All right, guys. "65 degrees, mostly clear and pleasant." I'd say that's an accurate description.
That's just about every day here.
Yeah, that's right. That's San Diego for you. That's why you see so many smiling faces in that dugout. The combination of walk-off winds and weather will do that to you. Everybody out in right center field.
Well, let's take a look at tonight's starting pitcher, who is pitching on his birthday, by the way. Colin Rea. This is his 26th birthday. He gets to start against the New York Yankees. Those are his numbers on the year. You can see mostly as a starter. 4-3 record, ERA just north of 5. A hit per inning, 61 strikeouts, maybe a few too many walks, 7 home runs, and opponents hitting 255. Let's check out the pitcher scouting report brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealer. He's a homebody. 8 of his last 10 starts, including tonight, have come right here at Petco Park. And of all the pitchers who have pitched at least 75 innings in this ballpark, he gets the most run support. Over 6.5 runs per 9 innings for him when he's on the mound. And how about this for hometown support? When he got called up to the major leagues last year, facing Cincinnati in this ballpark, he's from a little town called Cascade, Iowa, about less than 3,000 people, 25 miles southwest of Dubuque, Iowa. 70 people drove to Chicago, got on a plane, and flew out here to see him pitch. And not only did he win his first start in the big leagues, he got a hit his first time up. So all the people in his hometown of Cascade, Iowa, were very happy with his beginnings in the major league.
Yeah, it's about a 3-hour cab ride to get to the airport there. We'll take a look at the defense behind him, presented by Geico. Across the outfield, left to right, Melvin Upton Jr., formerly known as BJ, in left field. Travis Jankowski in center, Matt Kemp in right. Yangervis Solarte, the former Yankee, at third. Alexi Ramirez at short. Ryan Shrimp is at second. Will Myers at first, and then Derek Norris does the catching. Sort of an odd start time tonight. A 7:40 first pitch, something the Padres have been implementing this season to combat the traffic that they have on I-5 for fans trying to get to games.
The fans, they mentioned the fans from the North County. So what? Well, they're 2 minutes late. 7:42.
Yeah. Ellsbury ready to go and takes a first pitch strike from Ray. It's got to be a little odd for the Yankees body clocks. They played yesterday on the East Coast, already adjusting, and then probably feels like 10:40.
Well, welcome to modern baseball. It used to be when the teams would come out here, they'd stay out here for a week to 10 days playing in 3 cities on the West Coast teams in the American League. But now the Yankees play 3 different cities on this road trip, 3 different time zones.
The 1-1. Grounded weakly to short. Ellsbury's going to get first. I think it's another catcher's interference, and it is.
That is the 7th time this year he has reached on catcher's interference. You could, no doubt about this one, as he takes Derek Norris's glove halfway to shortstop, along with the baseball. So that's going to go as an error on the catcher, and Ellsbury will be safe on E2. 7th time this year he's reached on You would think the catchers would know it by now.
Yeah.
Sit back a little bit.
Absolutely the most proficient catcher's interference drawer that we've seen. And he's on to lead off the first for Brett Gardner.
See how the Yankees want to play it here. We got a speedy runner at first. Gardner not thinking about bunting, takes a pitch for a ball.
Now that's been Colin Ray's issue when he falls behind, because he does not have overpowering stuff. Has 4 major league pitches, but he has fallen behind with regularity this season, hence his ERA over 5. Ellsbury took a little stutter step as Gardner check swings. Ball 2.
I was watching the Yankee telecast recently, and David Cohn made the point that Ellsbury and Gardner, of course, these are the 2 guys that make the Yankees offense go, but Ellsbury is a little more aggressive on the bases as far as stealing it. It's been a while since Brett Gardner's had a stolen base.
Yeah, does not have one since June 7th, 18 games ago for Gardner. Ellsbury scampers back.
Rhea has a fastball, low 90s. He can get it up there mid 90s from time to time. A cutter, a curveball, and a split change. So he's got a variety of pitches out there. It's just a matter of him getting them over the plate, as you said, Ryan.
Another check on Ellsbury. Now, Padres catcher Derek Norris used to have a lot of trouble throwing out runners, but he's worked very hard on it. And he's up to about 34% these last 2 seasons caught stealing. I mean, 2014, he was only throwing out 17% of runners. That's grounded weakly to first. Only 1 play. Ellsbury will advance to second, and there's 1 down as Gardner is retired by Myers.
So now Colin Ray has the opportunity to pitch with a runner in scoring position. With only 1 out, Ellsbury might be thinking about taking third.
Here's Mark Teixeira. Sitting on 399 home runs. Had a couple after returning from injury on the Yankees homestand.
Speaking of home runs, over the years this has been a tough park to hit homers, particularly to right field. They've moved the fences in here, but there's been a change the last couple of years because of a new configuration of the ballpark with the big scoreboard out in left center.
Teixeira flips that into right center field. That's going to get down for a base hit. Ellsbury got a very late break and has to hold on at third. Did not read it dropping off the bat of Teixeira. Runners on the corners with 1 out for the Yankees.
Well, not well hit by Teixeira, but well placed just over the shift and in front of the right fielder. You can see Ellsbury holding up, as Ryan told you, and he gets the third. But the Yankees are in business, first and third with 1 out.
It looked like not only did Ellsbury hold up, but then he almost took a step back at one point.
You know, when you're on second base in scoring position, you're supposed to look out and check and see where the outfielders are playing, so you know when the ball's hit whether it fall in or not. Now, maybe he thought Teixeira hit the ball better and would carry a little further to the outfield.
So first and third with 1 out for McCann, who takes inside.
Here's a look at Ellsbury taking that lead. You hear the crack of the bat. Maybe not sure if Kemp would make the play, and he only is able to advance 90 feet.
So here's McCann, hit .308 on the homestand. Trying to give Nathan Eovaldi an early lead. He looks at strike 1.
McCann's been swinging a better bat lately, 11 for his last 30. That's over 8 games. He's got a 3-game hitting streak going. Now, if you're the Yankees, you want to get off to a good start in this ballpark and put the Padres on the defensive right away. Scoring that first inning. That's what the Yankees did so well last year. Led the major leagues in runs scored in the first inning.
McCann fouls that straight back. Good looking swing. Well, you were just talking about it, Kenny, before the Teixeira base hit. You talk to anyone around the Padres or who covers the Padres, they'll tell you the ball is now starting to carry a little bit out to right field because of some new structures, the new scoreboard and a new building. It changed the wind patterns here a little bit.
The building off to the left, just basically behind the bug there.
McCann fights that off.
And they say that it has changed the wind patterns, kind of knocked out. There we go. This Sempra Energy building that wasn't here a few years ago when the Yankees came in. Was it 3 years ago the Yankees were here in San Diego? Yeah. The ball is carrying much better to right center field.
Here's the 1-2 from Ray. Up 2-2.
Will Myers is not holding to Scherer at first base. He want to give himself a little bit more room to maneuver. Ground ball to the right side. And Scherer not much of a stolen base threat. He does have one this year.
Strike three. McCann knew it. Down looking. And now 2 down. It'll be left up to Starlin Castro.
Looked like the first curveball of the evening from Ray. He drops it in there nicely for call. Strike 3. McCann had some good rips during that at bat, but is caught looking by Ray.
Here is Castro. Had yesterday off until having to pinch hit in the 9th inning. 255 on the season. And takes inside ball 1.
I was looking at some of Castro's statistics today. Remember Horace Greeley said go west, young man?
Yeah.
He was referring to Starlin Castro.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. No doubt in my mind. Castro hitting .340 against the American League West and .345 against the National League West. So he kind of likes facing the Western Division pitchers, whether it's American League or National. So he's about as far west as you can go, only a few blocks from the Pacific Ocean.
And now ahead 2-0. Now that could obviously just be circumstance and sample size, or maybe it's against teams who he has a little less intel against, and they haven't scouted him quite the same, because we've seen him get a steady dose of breaking balls away as pitchers have adjusted to him.
I'm sure the National League pitchers know him.
2-1. Nice looking cut there from Castro.
Good swing. But here's where, when you get 2 strikes on him, it appears that the American League pitchers go with that slider down and away out of the strike zone. Let's see if the Padres have the scouting report.
Ray throws a cutter as well as a curve.
Yeah, looks like fastball. In.
The 2-2. Too far in. Count is full. Chase Headley, the former Padre, on deck. Not a lot of same faces for Headley since he departed this team 3 years ago, but he was still very happy to be back in the area. Runners on the corners, 2 outs. Teixeira will go. Castro flips it foul down the right field line.
Looks like we have the makings of a nice holiday crowd, holiday weekend crowd here in San Diego. Of course, the Yankees, as we mentioned, don't come here very often. And we saw some Yankee fans around today.
Yeah.
Talked to a few. There's a family made the trip all the way from New Jersey just for this weekend.
It's an excuse to get out to San Diego. Some Yankee gear. The 3-2. Outside ball 4. Bases loaded for Chase Headley.
As you mentioned, sort of a homecoming for Headley. He could have one of those remember me at bats right here with a hit. Of course, his best year in the major leagues was 2012 here with San Diego. played in 161 games, led the league, National League in runs batted in with 115.
This is his first time back in the city at all since being traded to the Yankees. And Headley takes ball one. With the Padres, 8 seasons, was a second-round draft pick. There's that 2012 season Ken was talking about. Headley looks at strike one.
And not only the runs batted in, he hit 31 home runs that year. And that's a career high.
Bases loaded, 2 outs. Top of the first, the 1-1. Just off the inside corner, 2-1. And this has been typical for Ray as well. His pitch count getting up. The 25th pitch of the inning coming. He's completed 6 innings in just 2 of his last 8 starts. The 2-1. Rolled. Foul. Just outside of first. The inning started with another Jacoby Ellsbury catcher's interference. Teixeira singled. Castro walked. Those are your 3 base runners. Here's the 2-2. A little bit up, maybe a tad in, and the count is full. That'll start the merry-go-round.
Close pitch, but not close enough. You can see Derek Norris, the catcher, bring the glove down, trying to get a call from the home plate umpire, Mike DeMuro.
So now they all will go. Bases loaded, full count, 2 outs. The payoff to Headley. Line drive, 1 hop, grabbed at second by Schimpf, on to first, and Ray escapes trouble. The Yankees threaten but don't score. We go to the bottom of the first. First, take a look at the Padres lineup. Travis Jankowski will lead off. Will Myers had a torrid June, and you see what he's done at home this season. He bats second. Matt Kemp in the 3 spot. Former Yankee on Hervis Solarte bats cleanup. Melvin Upton Jr., formerly known as BJ, bats 5th. Derek Norris, the catcher, at 6th. Alexi Ramirez, the veteran shortstop, in the 7th spot. Ryan Schimpf bats 8th, and they're rounded out by pitcher Colin Ray.
Nathan Eovaldi trying to turn it around. 26-year-old right-hander, 1-1 in his career against the San Diego Padres. 15 starts, 6-5 ERA, now over 5. 94 hits in 86 2/3 innings. Let's check out the pitcher scouting report, brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. His last win was May 29th against the Tampa Bay Rays at Tropicana Field. A June swoon, and boom, he's 0-3 in 5 starts with 10 home runs allowed. He needs to regain that splitter. That splitter has deserted him over the month of June. He gets the feel for that again, he can start winning again.
We talked to Joe Girardi a little bit about that before the game. Said it just hasn't been as consistent as it was last year.
Well, one thing he does have, we know he has that big arm with the fastball.
Second in the league in average fastball velocity among starters. Only Noah Syndergaard throws harder.
There's a splitter. It's in the dirt. It just hasn't had the bite. He's hung a few of them, and those are the ones that have been disappearing into the seats. He seems to have been up and down this year.
The 1-2. Bounce to second. Castro. One down. Take a look at the Yankees defense. It is brought to you by Geico. Across the outfield, Brett Gardner, Jacoby Ellsbury, Aaron Hicks. Still no Carlos Beltran. Chase Headley at third, Didi Gregorius at short. We just saw Starlin Castro. Mark Teixeira man's first base, and Brian McCann catches Nathan Eovaldi.
Well, he talked about the spacious Petco Park, and that helps the pitchers, of course. You have to have speedy outfielders. The Yankees have that tonight. But one thing about these infields in California and in Texas, they are very fast. They're baked by the sun. Ball gets through very quickly. Kind of reminds you of the old artificial surface back in the 70s and the 80s.
Well, Andy Green said that is a change, Ken, how fast this infield has been acting. And that's why I think it's played a little more offensive this season, in addition to what we were talking about before with the new structures and the breeze is changing. The infield getting faster like that. Myers had a monstrous June. Had 21 extra base hits, which tied a Padres record. 33 RBIs.
Having a big year. Former Rookie of the Year in the American League.
And finally healthy. Has dealt with wrist issues the past 2 seasons.
And we talked about the ball flying towards right field and right center. He's taking advantage of it. Hits the ball to all fields. Look at the June.
I mean, he slugged .765. It just doesn't happen that often.
Now, the Padres' record for home runs in June was 10 until this year. Greg Vaughn had hit 10 in June of 1998.
And he hit 50 that season.
Oh, didn't he? Myers kind of old school. Doesn't use batting gloves. You can see he's got his fingers taped, I guess, to guard against the calluses. I always think of a Jorge Posada.
And Myers takes the walk.
Think of Posada. Posada used to tape his fingers too in his guard against the calluses. It's kind of interesting. He puts a glove on when he gets to first base. Or
doesn't need it in the box.
No,
only for running. And he is the kind of guy who he says he will never put them on, no matter what the elements are, no matter how cold it is. There is nothing that will ever make him put on batting gloves.
Well, it's not a glove, but it's actually a wrist guard. So when that'll tell you right away he slides head first if he's going to steal.
Here's Kemp. Takes strike one, a 98-mile-an-hour fastball from Eovaldi.
Kemp is having a good year.
Found his power stroke, 16 home runs. Didn't hit his 16th till August 30th last year. That's lifted in the air to left. Gardner started in, will drift back just in front of the track for the second out.
You know, it's interesting as you watch the fans in the lower stands there in left field as that ball was headed to left. They all stood up as if they were going to have a chance to make the play. All those fans just behind Brett Gardner as Gardner hauled it in. They all sat back down, disappointed. I guess they've seen Matt Kemp's act before.
Yeah. Here's Yangervis Solarte, former Yankee, having a very nice season with the Padres. Has been injured a bit as Eovaldi nearly picks off Myers.
We've mentioned many times before, Eovaldi has one of the better pickoff moves for a right-handed pitcher. Quick feet, of course, a quick arm, and Myers gets back there barely. Myers has stolen 11 bases in 13 attempts, so certain situations he will go, and this is one of those situations with 2 outs, trying to get himself into scoring position.
Eovaldi gets that roll through the middle, beats the shift, a single for Solarte, and 2 on with 2 out.
Here that Myers was thinking about third base with the 2 outs. He held up. Maybe with 1 out he would have tried it. But Solarte will find the gap up the middle. Gregorius with a dive and can't come up with it. And the Padres have 2 on now with 2 outs here in the first.
And this is a situation where Eovaldi has struggled this season, Ken, with runners in scoring position, opponents hitting .338 against him this year. And Melvin Upton Jr. is having a nice bounce-back season himself.
Yeah, this is the best he's played since his last year with the Tampa Bay Rays.
12 homers, 37 RBIs, 2 on, 2 out. Chopped through a vacated right side. Myers will round third. He will score. On to third goes Solarte, and it's 1-0 San Diego.
Well, Ryan, you said it. Runners in scoring position have been a problem for Eovaldi, and although this wasn't well hit, pitch in the middle of the plate, Upton kind of fights it off and finds a hole on the right side, and the Padres take the early lead as Myers scores on the 2-out single by Melvin Upton Jr., who's been really hot lately.
Boy, that has to be frustrating for Nathan Eovaldi, who has been struggling so mightily of late, to see 2 weakly, or maybe you want to say fairly hit ground balls find holes. Now San Diego's been scoring runs, 4th in the majors in runs per game in the month of June. The Orioles just lapping the field.
Yeah, the Orioles just left here. They were here for a 2-game series. Padres had an off day yesterday, but the Orioles came in here and just, well, they just beat up on San Diego pitching. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, San Diego's been a much better offensive team this season than they have been defensively or on the mound.
Well, you talked about the hits that were given up this inning, but it's actually the walk that scored.
Harder to get away with those seeing eye singles when you've walked a batter in the inning. Nice breaking ball strike from Eovaldi. You also probably can have to combat the part of you mentally that says, oh, if there wasn't a shift, that would have been a
the shift is something that pitchers are going to have to deal with.
And over time, as Eovaldi throws to first, the numbers would bear out that more runs are saved than not from them. But in the moment, I'm sure it's frustrating when you're Nathan Eovaldi and you see 2 ground balls squirt through that may not have.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, that game in Tampa Bay, he had a no-hitter going for a while, and ball squirted through on a shift.
That's right.
Upton Jr. 4th in the National League in stolen bases.
That is ripped to left. That's a legitimate shot. Into the corner it goes. Upton is racing. Gardner fires in. Gregorius bobbles. Upton scores. 3-0 San Diego.
Well, once this ball was headed for the corner, the race was on. Could the Yankees execute the relay in time to throw out Melvin Upton Jr. at home plate? Solarte scores easily from third. The ball comes off the wall. Gardner has to go get it, but here's where the Yankees failed to make the play. A little bit of a bobble there on the relay, and it looked like Gregorius might have had a chance. Upton Jr. runs very well, and they didn't hesitate to send him home, but the little bobble might have been a difference. I'm not saying he would have thrown him out, but certainly if that relay was handled cleanly, they would have had a better chance.
And instead, Eovaldi and the Yankees in a 3-0 hole here in the bottom of the first inning. The Yankees obviously trying to build on the momentum that they seem to create with back-to-back walk-off wins against the best team in the American League in the Rangers. That's rolled to third. Easy for Headley. Inning over, but not before some two-out damage from San Diego. A couple of ground ball singles from Solarte and Upton, and a two-run double from Norris. It's 3-0 Padres. For today's conversation, brought to you by Toyota. RAV4 Hybrid is the official hybrid vehicle of the Yankees. So, aside from Tony Gwynn, who do you think is the greatest player in Padres history and why? At Yes Network has asked that on Twitter. And at Wendy, we're going to go with Jeannie? Oh, Wendy GNYY. Yeah, I guess that's what it is. Dave Winfield, exclamation point, because he was the first to enter the Hall of Fame as a Padre, and he was a Yankee. Follow Yes Network and tweet us your responses using hashtag YankeesRAV4Hybrid to keep the conversation going.
Well, Big Dave was actually in the ballpark earlier tonight.
Yeah.
Had a chance to talk to him for a little bit. There's the statue dedicated to the late Tony Gwynn, Mr. Padre. What a great hitter he was.
Would you agree with that assessment from Wendy G?
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, Dave Winfield was the #1 draft pick of the Padres. Actually was a pitcher and an outfielder at the University of Minnesota. Was drafted in the NFL and in the NBA. Great all-around athlete.
There's Didi Gregorius, who had a spectacular June. Hit .337. The most hits, runs, extra base hits, and ribbies he's ever had in a month.
You know, one thing, Didi has shown more power this year. Now, yesterday's home run was his 8th of the year. He hit 9 all of last year, so you got to figure, you know, he's headed for double figures this year. And believe it or not, he's second on the team and runs batted in with 36.
Now, he is in the all-star conversation. It's just he plays a position that is very tough in the American League right now.
Well, Xander Bogaerts of Boston, I believe he's going to be the starter for the American League. He's just having a fantastic year.
You see the difference last year to this year at this point in the season. Headley rolls that through the right side, and the hot hitting continues for Gregorius.
Now, Ryan, there's an example of the speedy infield. That ball 2 hops and it was into the outfield. Schimpf did not have much of a chance to come up with this one. Little chopper off the bat. Boom, that second hop and it's gone. It's like there's a trampoline out there.
Yeah. And that's exactly what you were talking about, and Andy Green, Padres manager, was talking about. Ball just taking off when it hits the grass. In the dirt. So Gregorius on leading off. But, you know, it's not just Xander Bogaerts. You see Andy Green, first-year manager with the Padres. It's also Carlos Correa and Francisco Lindor.
They're number of shortstops.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds you of days when it was A-Rod, Jeter, A-Rod, and Nomar Garcia-Parra.
It's a stacked position right now in the AL with young talent. So while Gregorius is putting up a season worthy of that, very hard to be back here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, all over town you see reminders of the All-Star game when we played right here at Petco Park. Took a nice walk around the harbor this morning.
Fly in the air to left. Drifting back is Upton Jr. for the first out. July 12th on Fox. Have the All-Star game out here in San Diego. Not a bad place to spend your All-Star break.
Not at all.
And with this whole area around Petco Park, the gas lamp district, it'll be a nice vibe to the All-Star festivities.
Just beautiful here.
Here's Nathan Eovaldi showing bunt and gets away from Norris, and Gregorius is going to be able to take second without the Eovaldi bunt.
I believe this is going to be a pass ball. Eovaldi squares the bunt. Of course, he's had some experience in the National League bunting, and you can see him waving Gregorius to second base. Now, let's see how the Yankees want to play this.
Eovaldi not showing bunt.
Now well, if you bunt him over, you're going to be out, and there's going to be 2 outs and a runner at third. Drive him in yourself.
Two and one. Eovaldi with 1 career RBI. It came back in 2013 with the Marlins.
So he knows how to do it.
That's right.
Yeah.
He's been there. That swing won't get it done.
Yeah, I've mentioned this before in interleague play. This is where the American League, when they come into National League ballparks, their pitchers are a distinct disadvantage. Very few. Madison Bumgarner is a great giant pitcher who is also a very good hitter. Maybe CC can swing the bat a little bit.
Eovaldi goes down swinging.
But that's more of what you're going to see when American League pitchers come up to hit. Second strikeout for Ray tonight as he just throws it right on by Nathan Eovaldi. Late swing.
Yankee pitchers are now 1 for their last 45 in interleague play since May 20th of 2014. Speaking to the American League struggles. But a chance for Jacoby Ellsbury to drive in a 2-out run. That is hammered through into right field. Gregorius will be sent. Kemp has a strong arm, but Gregorius is in there safely. An RBI single for Ellsbury, and the Yankees are on the board here in the second.
Well, you were talking about Kemp's strong arm, and he made a very good throw to home plate. But look, when Didi got the green light from Joe Espada, that's when he really turned it on. Here's the throw, perfect. 1 hop, Norris has it, but when he turns, Gregorius is already around home plate. This is about where he really starts to turn it on. And the Yankees are on the scoreboard. There's the lane, and he's home. So Ellsbury comes through with a 2-out hit.
Always good after you give up a few. Next half inning, respond at least with some production. And Jacoby Ellsbury delivers with the 2-out single. Gardner lays down a bunt. Saw Solarte played towards shortstop and back and just pushed it a little bit too far to the left of the third baseline.
If he had kept that fair, there's no doubt he would have had a base hit.
Now will Solarte adjust?
He comes in a little bit, not all that much. You know, if I'm Gardner, maybe if I can go deep in the count, maybe give Ellsbury a chance to steal, and then you can drive him in yourself.
Ray will check on Ellsbury.
A little bit more difficult for Ellsbury to get back that time, and he's going to go out and smooth out the runway here. Sometimes when you see a runner get back, have a little difficulty or just beat it, that gives you an indication he's really thinking about going.
14 stolen bases for Ellsbury, has been caught 6 times. Doesn't go. Gardner twists out of the way, 1-1.
Just snaps that head back on a fastball up and in. Get your attention right quick. Be amazed how quickly you can move when danger is imminent.
Ellsbury leads. 2 outs, 3-1 game. And Ellsbury back again on the check from Ray.
Ray with a couple of head bobs and then threw over the first. Noted base stealer at first base, and see how pitchers decide they're going to hold the ball a little longer. See the head bobs right there.
There goes Ellsbury. The throw down is wide. Ellsbury is there and gets back to the base in time after oversliding it slightly. A stolen base for Ellsbury, and he's in scoring position for Gardner.
Well, Yankee speed has come into play in this inning. First of all, Gregoria scoring from second on a close play. Ellsbury moving himself into scoring position with his 15th steal of the year. It gives Gardner a chance to drive and run, just barely holding on to the bag as Alexei Ramirez, the longtime Chicago White Sox, applies a tag.
And Gardner ahead in the count, 2-1. That's down, 3-1. Mark Teixeira on deck.
Let's see what kind of pitch Gardner gets here. He's ahead, 3 balls and a strike. Maybe Ray does not want to share the power hitter coming up this inning, and that would mean that Gardner get a decent pitch to hit.
The 3-1 fouled away. Well, you know Ellsbury should have no trouble scoring on a base hit here with his speed and 2 outs.
Well, he'll be off with the crack of the bat for sure, just as Gregorius was.
The payoff. Strike 3, caught him looking. Gardner didn't like it, and he leaves Ellsbury stranded at second, but the Yankees do get on the board courtesy of Ellsbury's 2-out ribby single. There's strike 3 to Brett. your trip at mohegansun.com.
Oh, manager Andy Green saw his team score the second most runs in the National League in June. Only the Rockies scored more runs, but they've had a problem with too many free passes. Only one team in the National League has walked more batters than the Padres. That's Cincinnati. And I mentioned the Orioles they were bashed by the Orioles. The Orioles came in here to play 2 games and scored 23 runs in 2 games. And the series kind of got off to a very poor note. The first batter the Orioles sent up was Adam Jones. Adam is from San Diego, and he homered in the first game, and that kind of set the tone. And Padres, they scored 13 runs themselves in 2 games, but the Orioles scored 10 more than they did.
And Andy Green was actually ejected from the second game. 38 years old, turns 39 on July 7th. In his first year at the helm of San Diego.
If I'm not mistaken, there's only one manager younger than him. That's Kevin Cash of the Tampa Bay Rays.
Green very well liked. As that is crushed deep right center field and gone. Ryan Schimpf with his first career home run, and it is a shot. San Diego 4 and the Yankees 1.
Well, you always remember your first, and Schimpf has been 3 for his last 29. He's been struggling since being called up from the minor leagues. He was playing at El Paso, and he's greeted by his teammates that know he's been struggling. That's a breaking ball, hangs in the middle of the plate, maybe a splitter. And it got out of here. Remember, we said the ball's been flying to right center field, and this is headed in that direction and into the seats.
So Eovaldi immediately gives back the run the Yankees were able to put across in the top of the second. And Schimpf, who hit very well at AAA this season.
Wow, did he?
355. Had 15 homers in 51 games.
But we were speaking with Hall of Fame broadcaster Dick Enberg, who does the games on TV for the Padres here. And what did he say? The team batting average for El Paso is like 310?
Yeah. Well, you played there at one point.
Well, it was a long time ago, but Texas was barely a state then. But the fact is, yeah, the ball does fly there.
Ray cuts and misses 2-2.
That was when El Paso was in the Texas League. It looks like the splitter, and it doesn't have the bite to it. We're going to look at this on YesMo, brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealer. Kind of hangs, and that's been a problem for Eovaldi. Just not have the bite on that splitter. He had it early in the season, has lost it. That one kind of just rolled up there, and Schimpf took it out of the ball yard.
It's the 18th home run given up by Eovaldi this season.
10 in June alone.
Yeah. Popped up. Behind the plate. McCann runs out of room. Well, Nathan Eovaldi, Ken, even though he's always given up a lot of hits, you look at his hits per innings, he always allows far more hits than innings pitched. But he had always done a really nice job of keeping the ball in the ballpark in his career. The 18 home runs he's allowed are already a career high.
Yep.
Gregorius finds the hop. 1 out.
If Didi comes up with it cleanly, he's got a strong enough arm to get just about anybody. He kind of laid back on that ball a little bit, looking for the proper hop. He got it and threw out Ray, headed down the first baseline.
No, I was actually talking to him about that today. His arm strength. He said, I almost never throw full speed to first base. He said, only when I backhand the ball do I really let it go. Otherwise, that's like his 85%. He was clocked at 95 miles an hour growing up, throwing from the outfield.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, years ago, remember Sean Dunston?
Yeah.
I believe he's from Brooklyn. The Cubs picked him
Jankowski shows bunt has great speed, but that's not going to get it done. 2 out.
Had a tremendous throwing arm. Shortstop for the Chicago Cubs. And I think the Cubs picked him in the draft before the Mets took Doc Gooden. And they asked the Cubs why they did. They said because he had a stronger arm.
Here's Will Myers, walked and scored in the first.
Well, Yankee fans remember Myers more as an outfielder.
Yeah.
When he was with Tampa Bay. But now playing first base here for the Padres. In fact, tonight is his 100th game starting at first base.
Good pitch there from Eovaldi.
And he seems to like first base. He has yet to make an error, despite the fact that he began his career as an outfielder. So he has not made an error in 100 games at first base.
The 0-2.
Now, usually the transition is from infield to outfield, but he's gone the other way. And while he was a pretty good outfielder, he's becoming a very good first baseman.
Covers a lot of ground over there as well. Swing and a miss. Eovaldi strikes out Myers. But Ryan Schimpf adds to the San Diego lead. His first career home run. A long one off a hanging splitter. Padres 4, Yankees 1. Stadium tradition on Monday, July 18th, when the Yankees take on the Orioles. It's cap night. The first 18,000 guests in attendance will receive a Yankees cap, courtesy of Cannon. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com. Visit the Yankee Stadium ticket window. Yankees clubhouse shops or call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849.
Always a popular night or day at Yankee Stadium.
Top of the third, 4-1 Padres. As Teixeira looks at strike one. Yankees offense has had plenty of base runners against Colin Ray. Loaded the bases in the first before Ray escaped trouble. A 2-out ribby single from Jacoby Ellsbury in the second. But Nathan Eovaldi's struggles have continued, hence the 4-1 deficit.
Well, if the Padres are pitching kind of goes by what they've been doing all season long, they are going to help the Yankees out with a lot of base on balls. They're going to put men on base. Just a matter of getting them home. And he's fallen behind the first hitter in this inning.
2-1 on Teixeira, who singled his first at bat. Swing and a miss. Changeup from Ray. 3 infielders on the right side. The usual defensive alignment against Teixeira. And that caught Teixeira. perhaps on the arm. And he is aboard to lead off the third, and we'll see if he's all right.
Not a walk, but a hit batter, and this starts things off for the Yankees. Third consecutive inning, they had the leadoff man on. This time, Teixeira going to take one for the club. Right on the, not quite on the point of the elbow, but believe me, that doesn't feel good.
No pad on that right arm of Mark Teixeira, so he is going to feel every bit of that.
Yeah, look at the size of that forearm. You better check the baseball.
Teixeira obviously frustrated.
Yeah, last couple of years, a lot of injuries for the Yankee first baseman.
Brian McCann hits with Teixeira on, nobody out.
Well, the Yankees had a better offensive month in June than they did in certainly in May, and you go back to April as well. The Yankees had 14 games where they had 10 or more hits. And I think one thing you see is hitters are starting to react to the shift, and the shift is on for McCann right now. But the Yankees are down by 3 runs. Now I know if he hits a home run, it's a 4-3 game. But if you want to open up a big inning, there's a lot of room over there.
Right at shortstop. And McCann looks at strike one. Well, you know, we showed those numbers before about what the Padres did in the month of June, and actually all of baseball had a big offensive month. The average runs per game, 4.72, was the highest scoring month since August of 2009. So the offense in baseball has come back somewhat as McCann takes high and away.
And I think it's because hitters are starting to go with the shift. They're starting to lay down bunts that start big innings, that sort of thing that can get offenses rolling.
And you know what, Ken? I asked Joe Girardi, and that's exactly what he thinks as well. That the hitters have started to adjust to the shift somewhat.
The pushback is on.
2-1 is down. 3-1 as Ray is behind another hitter.
Well, he talked about, I mentioned the fact the Yankees had 14 games where they had 10 hits or more in June. Going into June, they only had 15. So you can see the offense has picked up the pace.
Starlin Castro on deck. 5th 3-ball count already for Ray. 3-1. Ripped foul just over Tony Pena. He got down quickly.
Look out, Tony. Smile about it now.
Tony Pena doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who is fearful as that ball's coming.
No, you can't be fearful you're going to be a catcher as long as he was.
Here's the payoff to McCann. Popped up. Behind second. Alexi Ramirez drifting back puts it away for the first out.
Now with the shifts, of course, you can leave bases uncovered. You can see the outfield, the infielders going back. All of a sudden, it's Solarte, the third baseman, who's moving over towards third in case the ball is dropped, and the second baseman Schimpf, who is headed for second. So there's a lot of movement now with these shifts to cover the bases that are not covered.
Ray behind another hitter. He's thrown first pitch strikes to just 5 of the 14 Yankees who have come to the plate.
He's trying to help the Yankees out here.
Ooh. Smacked right off of Ray. Rolls to Schimpf. The double play is completed as Myers kept his foot on the bag. A 1-4-6-3 double play to end the inning. Now the Yankees will take a look at whether or not Castro might have been safe at first.
Here's the throw by Ramirez. Close play, and the Yankees going to challenge. We'll see.
Now Myers clearly kept his foot on the base, but did Castro beat it? No. He's out.
He's out. I don't think they're going to challenge it. Not let's take a chance on this one. Nope.
A fortuitous bounce for San Diego and an inning-ending double play for Castro. Report. It is brought to you by Montefiore and doing more in state-of-the-art healthcare. Carlos Beltran, you see the numbers on the season. They're outstanding. Might be back here in a few weeks for the All-Star game, but he is not in the lineup again with a tight hamstring. We want to learn a little bit more about that, and we will in just a moment. As Matt Kemp drives that to right. Easy for Hicks, one down. And joining us in the booth, Meredith Marakovitz. All right, Meredith. So Carlos Beltran obviously not in the lineup today, but what's the latest on his hamstring?
Well, Ryan, the good news is he is feeling a little bit better. There is progress with Carlos Beltran. Unfortunately, they're in a National League park, meaning there is no DH. He'd have to play right field for 9 innings, not to mention run the base paths. And Joe Girardi and Carlos Beltran both admitted he's just not quite there yet. He did do a little bit of jogging yesterday, a little bit more today, and took batting practice. So he's moving in the right direction, but neither of them seemed hopeful that he would be in that starting lineup at all during this series. Carlos Beltran said maybe as a pinch hitter he hopes, but he needs to be able to run and be able to run out of the batter's box. So time will tell exactly how long it will be, but we saw those numbers. He is such a big part of this offense.
Well, and obviously is somewhat unfortunate that both of his injuries he sustained this season, Meredith, have come when the Yankees are in National League parks. Colorado first and now San Diego.
And it's funny, Ryan, he talked a little bit about that, and he said that's just the way it goes sometimes. It's the luck of the draw. But yeah, he had that knee issue right before that Colorado series. He actually woke up at the hotel in Denver and called Joe Girardi and said, my knee just isn't right. It's swollen. Something needs to be done about this. So he missed that series. But Beltran hopeful that this isn't going to be too long. Worst case scenario, you'll most likely see him DHing at some point in time in that Chicago White Sox series. But no Beltran, no Alex Rodriguez, National League Park. He's not going to be able to play a position. And Alex has not been hitting particularly well. We all know that. But he did have 2 hits that final game of the Rangers series. So 2 big bats missing from that lineup.
Big swing there from Solarte. You know, Ken, I was thinking about that in regard to A-Rod. He had some good swings 2 games ago, although they didn't bear fruit. And then yesterday, 2 hits off a right-hander. Not the best time probably for him if he's feeling like, oh, I'm starting to get my swing going to have to go into an NL park.
Yeah, that's very true, because you wonder, he's going to have to get all of his swings on the side now. I saw him before the game in the batting cage near the Yankee clubhouse. But you're right, it's not game conditions. Can he keep that momentum going?
And that was one of the things Joe Girardi felt like he sort of ran into earlier in the season when he started to find himself offensively and then went down with an injury. Now, Meredith, as far as the Yankees are concerned, Nathan Eovaldi has really struggled in June. We know that the numbers were ghastly in that month, and today he struggled again as well. Do they feel like they're close to any answers with Eovaldi?
Just a dramatic difference with Eovaldi, and perhaps the most frustrating thing, it's almost like another Michael Pineda situation where you know he has the talent, you know he has the pitches to get out of certain situations, but for whatever reason, in big situations, he just can't seem to execute. I spoke to him in the clubhouse after his last outing where he gave up 3 home runs in that 6th inning, 4 total on the day, and he said he felt physically fine, and he didn't feel as though he needed to adjust much mechanically. It was simply execution with pitches, and that's a frustrating thing if you're a pitching coach, if you're Joe Girardi, and even if you're Nathan Eovaldi on the mound. He seemed defeated after that one and saying, I need to continue to attack out there. That's been part of the problem. He feels like maybe he doesn't stay as aggressive when he starts getting into some of those tough situations. But you guys talked a little bit about the splitter. That was the pitch that allowed him to be dominant early in the season. You look at that month of May, 5-0 with an ERA just over 3. He has not had that same split.
Rolled to short, only 1 play. Gregorius makes it. 2 out.
And excuse me, Meredith. I was going to say, the Yankees had momentum. They won their last 2 games coming out here, and all of a sudden they find themselves in a deficit again. And it's in a game that Eovaldi has pitched again. For a team to get any sort of momentum, the Yankees are at 500 right now. You have to have at least 3 or 4 of your starting pitchers rolling for a club to get going. And right now, I would say Pineda had a strong outing, and they won the game. Tanaka's been okay. CeCe's been okay. So they kind of have 3 pitchers pitching well. They need the other guys to step up, too.
And you looked at the situation with this ballpark. It's pitcher friendly. It skews more towards the pitchers. The fact that he's coming out here perhaps comfortable in this situation, that this would be the one where he'd be able to get back on track. But obviously, as we know, not a great start.
And the man at the plate did some damage against him in the 1st inning, a 2-run double from Derek Norris. Also a homecoming here for Chase Headley of sorts.
Drafted by the Padres in the 2nd round back in 2005, made his major league debut June 15th of 2007, and he said, this is where it all started. This is what I know. This is definitely, as Nathan Eovaldi tries to get the runner at first, but this is the place that I know. I owe the Padres everything in teaching me how to become a big leaguer, how to handle myself at the big league level. And he said it was a little awkward walking in here today into Petco Park, a little different coming in as the opposition, but he did have the chance to catch up with some people who he would normally talk to when he was in that Padres uniform.
Oh, and DJ Upton, or make that Melvin Upton Jr., is picked off. Nathan Eovaldi was flirting with it and finally delivered, and Upton Jr. is caught. The excellent move from Eovaldi. Thank you to Meredith. We'll catch in with her a little bit later on. Now the Padres are looking to make sure that Upton is out, but I don't know how they could think he possibly isn't.
What, did he try and call timeout? No, he's out.
I mean, he's out by a good foot. Our thanks to Meredith. We'll be back in a moment as Upton is retired. San Diego. Padres with a 4-1 lead. Nathan Eovaldi picking off Melvin Upton Jr. to end the bottom of the third. And here is Chase Headley in his first game back in San Diego. Takes ball one. On the Audi scoreboard, 4-4-1 for San Diego, 1-3-0 for the Yankees. (2-0). Ray has consistently fallen behind hitters. He's just been able to wiggle out of trouble. Headley batted with the bases loaded in the first and 2 outs. Grounded out hard to second. This time he might do the same. 1 down.
Well, there's an instance where the shift paid off. And thrown out from short right field. Hit that ball well. Headley was talking about when he was first in the Padres organization, they moved him to the outfield for a while. He wasn't very successful in the outfield, and they moved him back to third base. And he gave a lot of credit to Glenn Hoffman, who is now the Padres third base coach, who got his footwork and everything straightened out at third base, and gave him a lot of credit for making him the third baseman that he is today.
Gold Glove winning third baseman.
There's Glenn Hoffman. Shortstop for the Red Sox back in the day. Played against Glenn for a while.
Gregorius. It's a towering drive. Deep right. Kemp back. Has room. Makes the play. And there are 2 down. And that ball kept carrying.
It did. That would have been a home run at Yankee Stadium, but not here. Didi kind of knew he didn't quite get enough of it underneath it. As you look out towards the right field wall, that wall has actually been moved in over the years. If you look out in that direction, and you will see right back here where the T-Mobile sign is, that used to be the outfield wall, but it was almost impossible for people to hit home runs. So they brought the fence in, and it's a little bit more hitter friendly.
That happens often in new ballparks.
Well, we've seen in Miami they did it.
They did it at Comerica. They did it at Citi Field.
Yep. They want more offense.
Right. People enjoy home runs.
Well, I think people enjoy power pitching and power hitting. They'll pay for strikeouts. Watch somebody strike a lot of people out, and they'll pay for hitters that look for hitters to hit home runs into the seats.
Broken bat to second. Easy inning for Colin Ray, the first 1-2-3 inning of the night. The driving matters. In the AL East, the Orioles just keep slugging. 5-game lead on the Red Sox. Toronto 6 back. The Yankees at 500 or 8 back, and the Rays in the basement of the division at 33 and 46.
Well, they've been struggling big time, Tampa Bay.
Bottom of the 4th inning in San Diego as Eovaldi deals a strike. Ken, you started to talk about it before with Meredith, but off of those 2 games at Yankee Stadium, the Yankees constantly seeking that turning point, that jolt of momentum on the Audi scoreboard. You see the Padres in front. But it is up to the next day's starting pitcher.
Yeah, they keep that momentum going. And we've seen the Yankees reach 500 before this year, and only to fall back and then have to work their way back up to the 500 mark. And when you get there, that's when you start to build on your record. Try and get the 5 games over, then 10 games over.
Take a look at tonight's pitch count, brought to you by Acura. And Nathan Eovaldi with an even 50 pitches, 29 strikes, 21 balls. I was talking about that very thing, Ken, with Brett Gardner earlier. I said, do you believe in momentum based on the type of win? He said, yeah, I think there's something to that when you win games in the fashion that we did and against the quality of opponent that we did. But it's more so just about, hey, we need to stop doing this yo-yo act between wins and losses, 5 and 5 every 10 games, and put something together because we're running out of time.
Yeah, well, the game the other night when the Yankees scored 6 in the 9th inning,
right,
and got the 2 home runs, one from McCann and one from Gregorius. I mean, that's one that they really pulled out of the fire. And that can give you some momentum as a team, thinking, well, if we can win a game like this, we should be able to win all the normal games, so to speak.
Sure.
And then yesterday, the Rangers helped them out by the pass ball to help them win that game. But you have to play good, solid baseball. You just do the little things that help you win games.
A leadoff walk to Derek Norris. Here's Alexi Ramirez. Looks at strike 1.
Ramirez signed as a free agent by the Padres and mentioned being a longtime member of the Chicago White Sox. 8 years with the South Siders in Chicago. Of course, when Mark Burley pitched that perfect game, the last ball was hit to Ramirez, a ground ball. He threw out the runner at first.
Fisted to short. Gregorius charging and fires in plenty of time. See, that's what he's talking about, Ken. That's just his 75% toss across the diamond.
Well, the thing about it, playing shortstop, you have to be very athletic, throw from different positions, throw on the run. Well executed play by Didi Gregorius.
Here's Ryan Schimpf. Entered this game 3 for 29, but had his first big league homer in his first at bat of the night against Eovaldi. A shot to right center field. Runner on second, 1 out, and a good backdoor breaking ball for a strike.
Yeah, we talked about the numbers at El Paso being inflated because of altitude. The ball really flies there. Schimpf was hitting .355 in 51 games with 15 home runs. Had an OPS over 1,000.
Yeah, over 1,100.
Yeah, over 1,100. And I don't think he was the best on the team.
They have a catching prospect, Austin Hedges, who has been slugging in El Paso.
They recently called up Alex Dickerson, and he was hitting .382 at El Paso with a .425 on base percentage. So they must play long games in El Paso.
Eovaldi ahead 0-2, trying to keep this game right here. Swing and a miss. Good work from Eovaldi, and now he gets to face the pitcher Ray.
Let's see if Schimpf helped him out. Breaking ball kind of hung, but he swings through it, and that's out number 2.
So now Eovaldi with just Colin Ray standing in his way of escaping this 4th inning and stranding Derek Norris on second. Ray bounced to short his first at bat.
I was watching Ray take his batting practice before the game, and it looked like he was handling the bat pretty well. Pretty good athlete. He was an all-conference basketball player in high school, Cascade High School.
Popped up. Gregorius is there, and Eovaldi escapes the threat. On to the 5th we go in San Diego. 4-1 Padres. In Cleveland, where nobody's losing in that city anymore. We'll catch more from Bob on Yes After Dark tonight following the game.
Oh, well, you're right about the Indians have not lost since the Cavaliers won the championship. On our Cadillac scoreboard, it's 4-1 San Diego here in the top of the 5th. And the Blue Jays actually employed 2 infielders pitching today. Ryan Goins pitched, and so did Darwin Barney.
And Goins got out of a jam.
Yeah, major jam.
In either the 17th or 18th.
Whatever.
Yeah. Here's Nathan Eovaldi, a career .080 hitter, a hearty amount of at-bats due to his time with the Marlins, and 0-2.
This is what every National League pitcher likes to see, the opposing pitcher leading off the inning, particularly if he's not a good hitter, and because it's like a free out.
That's right.
Get that first guy out and go from there.
And the swings from Eovaldi tonight haven't exactly looked comfortable.
Well, and of course, American League managers do not want their pitchers getting hurt swinging the bat or running the bases for that matter. Not used to it.
Well, and Eovaldi goes down looking. That's the reason why CC Sabathia will not be pitching on Sunday here.
Well, he's got the tender ankle. And while CC can swing the bat pretty well, I think he
in Milwaukee in 2014 hurt himself running the bases, hurt his knee.
Also hit a home run at Dodger Stadium that went over the bullpen.
Oh, he can hit.
Yeah.
He's got some power.
But it won't be on display here in San Diego.
And Joe Girardi said as Ellsbury bounces that to second, 2 down. Said CC, who maybe normally would fight him on it because he loves to hit so much, understood because of the ankle and because of what happened a couple years ago, where CeCe sort of tweaked the knee and then missed the remainder of the season. He understood why the Yankees didn't want him running the bases here, especially with the kind of season he's been having, pitching so effectively.
So Chad Green's going to get the start, right?
Chad Green will get the start. And you know what, Ken? It also helps Masahiro Tanaka, who pitches so much better with an extra day of rest. He gets that day of rest.
I just get the feeling the Yankees are getting closer and closer to that 6-man rotation somewhere down the line, because they're always looking to give Tanaka that extra day if they can.
Here's Brett Gardner. Gardner struck out looking with Ellsbury on second in the second. He's 0 for 2. Ray, meanwhile, has settled down a bit after getting the line drive off him for a double play off the bat of Castro to end the third. He has retired the next 5 hitters following that. It's actually 8 in a row in all for Ray. 1-2.
Here's a guy who came in with an ERA over 5, so you figure the Yankees will find a way to get to him eventually. But right now he's got a nice little rhythm going.
The 1-2 in the dirt. Here's the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Gardner down swinging. And Ray has retired 9 in a row. We head to the bottom of the 5th. On the Cadillac scoreboard, San Diego with a 4-1 lead over the Yankees. Nathan Eovaldi allowed 3 runs in the first inning, all with 2 outs. A solo shot in the second has settled down since. Now Travis Jankowski has some local ties. He's a Stony Brook alum.
Really? Wow. Out on the island.
That's right.
One thing I've seen from Jankowski, watching a couple of games earlier this week, this guy can really run.
He is fast.
He's a good outfielder, covers a lot of ground in center. You know he's got to be a pretty good center fielder if they move Melvin Upton Jr. out of center. Put Melvin Upton Jr. in left field.
Here's the 1-2. Hammered into right field. A base hit for Jankowski. He'll take a wide turn and hang on. The leadoff runner on again for San Diego.
So are all those people out on the island who have stayed up to watch Jankowski play tonight? You've been rewarded with a base hit.
Jankowski expected to get a lot more playing time now too, because John Jay has gone down with an injury.
Fractured forearm.
Expected to miss at least 4 to 6 weeks.
Now, one thing we mentioned, Jankowski's ability to run. He's stolen 5 bases in his last 7 games. But we've already seen an example of Eovaldi's pickoff move. There's John Jay. You can see the cast on that right arm. He was having a good year too. There was talk about him being in the All-Star game.
He's got some colors on that cast.
Yeah, it looks like got some ink put on it.
Yeah. Eovaldi checks on Jankowski. Jay was another one of these pieces from the Padres that's been linked to trade rumors. But it's going to be difficult to deal him now with this injury taking him right through the trade deadline of August 1st. Yesterday the Padres dealt Fernando Rodney to the Marlins. Rodney had been outstanding this season.
Given up 1 run this year. And now he's going to the Marlins where he won't be closing. Be a setup guy.
AJ Ramos is their closer. 1-1 to Myers. Off the outside corner, 2-1.
This is about the time, you know, we're going in July. We're getting closer to the trade deadline when teams get a little bit more serious with the buyers or sellers. And a lot of that talk going around with the Yankees. Maybe just a little bit too early. I think the teams hold on to players maybe a little longer than they used to because of that second wild card, which comes into play. The Yankees might be 8 games behind the Orioles in the division, but they're about half that out of the wild card situation.
Whereas the Padres have already been able to make that decision because they are 13 games under 500. They've already dealt James Shields and now Rodney.
And they are 16 games behind the front-running Giants in the National League West.
The 3-1. That's a good 3-1 pitch from Eovaldi. Gets the call on the outside corner, 3-2.
Ellsbury in center, playing a few steps towards right center. We mentioned Myers' ability to hit the ball the other way with authority. The Yankees give him all of the left field line.
Three-two count. Expect Jankowski to take off here.
He should be going. I mean, he's proven to his manager he can steal bases. Myers puts the ball in play. A hole might open up in the infield, and he'll be at third base. Speaking of Jankowski.
And Myers will call time. Payoff. There goes Jankowski. Drilled in the air to deep right center field, and that one is gone. Will Myers continues his scorching hot bat. 19th homer of the year, and it's 6-1 Padres.
Well, Myers led the major leagues in runs batted in June with 33. He's off to a good start here in July. A 2-run homer. He has scored a couple of runs. And we told you his ability to hit the ball the other way. And he just proved it. You're going to have to get that one on the rebound. number 19 on the season. That's a career high. And the season's not halfway over. Evaldi's been touched by the long ball lately. That's been the big bugaboo for him. That pitch was right down the middle.
19th home run allowed by Evaldi this season. His previous career high was 14 when he threw 198 plus innings 2 seasons ago with the Marlins. Kemp went around too far. Connor Malee warming up for the Yankees. Now this is the 3rd time through the order for the Padres, and while they've already gotten to Evaldi tonight, he has really struggled this season, 3rd time and beyond. That's chopped foul. Opponents entering this game 3rd time through the order and past are hitting .391 against Evaldi.
You know, I think back to last year when Evaldi's turn came up. You had a lot of confidence the Yankees were going to win. I mean, he had a 9-game winning streak at one time, and when he was injured, I think that was really the start of the downfall for the Yankees. They did make the playoffs, but they didn't last long in the playoffs, and one of the reasons why he wasn't around to pitch. The Yankees struggled in September. They kind of, I think they only won one of their last 9 games. CC won that game to get him a playoff spot.
And now Evaldi is full on Kemp. There's no problem with the velocity with Nathan Evaldi.
He's, you know, hitters go into slumps. The same thing can happen to pitchers too.
The payoff off the end of the bat to short. Stays down for Gregorius. 1 out.
But you just hope they don't last all that long. It's been a month now for Evaldi.
Ken, how do you explain the huge increase in home runs allowed from Evaldi?
Well, you just take a look at the pitches that he threw there. Tonight he threw that hanging in a split to Shemp, and then a pitch right down the middle to a very hot hitter. It's a pitch that Will Myers at this point in the season is not going to miss. He's going to hit it hard.
Solarte has singled and scored. He's also walked. Now we were mentioning how much more Evaldi struggles as he goes through an order multiple times. You see early on the numbers are fine. It gets troublesome once he gets to the 3rd time through the order and after.
It's almost like you got to give a different look. Maybe he falls behind on more counts. I don't think he's tired. He's strong. I mean, he can maintain 97, 98 miles per hour into the 7th and 8th inning. We've seen that before.
Well, Joe Girardi will tell you.
There's an example of it right there.
Nathan Evaldi is as well conditioned as anybody on the team.
I believe that.
He talks about perhaps the reasoning behind it being him just losing command of certain pitches as he goes deeper into his start. Repeating his delivery the same way.
Maybe not getting a call like that pitch. That was close.
2-2 on Solarte.
Solarte, of course, came to the Padres in a deal that enabled the Yankees to get Chase Headley.
Looped into shallow center. Ellsbury dives. Can't make the play. Will Solarte try for 2? He will. He's there. A double for Yangervis Solarte.
And this is going to be his 10th double of the year, and Ellsbury gives it the guess you call the old college try, just off the edge of his glove. Looked like he almost slid the glove underneath this one. In fact, he did. But it comes out.
So Joe Girardi will make the Verizon call to the bullpen as Nathan Eovaldi's night is done. Sports Service delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. Includes a free subscription to AppBat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Nathan Eovaldi's night is done. He is responsible for Yangervis Solarte on second base as Connor Malee comes into the game for the Yankees.
Well, we saw Malee earlier this season in Arizona. He was sent out back to the Scranton Wilkes-Barre. He's pitched very well down in Scranton Wilkes-Barre and now finds himself back in the big leagues. Heard Jack Curry talking about Malee the other day. St. Peter's College in Jersey City.
The Peacocks.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Yankees hoping he can strut his stuff out there on the mound.
Face Melvin Upton Jr. swinging and missing.
And I also heard Jack mention that he's had 3 procedures on his elbow. So you give him a lot of credit for hanging in there and realizing his dream of pitching in the major leagues. And very, very effective down at AAA.
A 0.52 ERA at AAA.
Yeah, usually that'll get you promoted somewhere.
The 0-1. Swing and a miss. Good life on the fastball from Malee.
And in particular, a nice slider on the first pitch to Upton Jr.
34 1/3 innings in Scranton, allowed just 19 hits, 45 strikeouts compared to 10 walks.
Yeah, that's some good pitching.
And has not allowed a home run. The 0-2. Outside. Ken, there's probably some people wondering, why did Melvin Upton Jr. become Melvin? When we used to see him with the Rays, he was BJ.
The artist formerly known as BJ Upton.
That's right. And he just decided, his exact wording was, my father gave me this name. I started to think he gave me this name for a reason. And so I wanted to start using it. Said it was his name, and that was a source of pride for him. He said, now, my friends have called me BJ my whole life. I'm not going to tell them they can't call me BJ, but to the public, you have to call me Melvin.
Melvin, yeah. I remember he came to spring training with that edict a couple of years ago.
Yep. Start of last season.
Yeah, when he was with the Rays, he was BJ Upton. No more.
And he felt like he had to address it because people thought it was because of the change of scenery, and he said it has nothing to do with that. Swing and a miss. Nice delivery there from Malee.
And threw some nice pitches in this sequence to Melvin Upton Jr., which results in a strikeout. Good wipeout breaking ball. Swing and a miss for strike 3. Melvin Upton, you see as he walks back to the dugout, he's looking out toward the net. Who is this guy?
Well, Ken, you and I both know the Yankees have struggled recently to find that bridge to no runs DMC at the back of the bullpen. So this is a real opportunity for a guy like Malik.
Most definitely. Some of the other pitchers the Yankees were hoping would have a shot at this situation. Of course, Brian Mitchell was hurt in spring training. There are the numbers on Eovaldi tonight. Once again, a little shaky. Nick Rumbelow out with the Tommy John surgery. So these are some of the pitchers that the Yankees we're going to give an opportunity before Malik, but the way he's pitched in AAA, he's earned his way here, that's for sure. It's not because of the injuries of the other guys so much. Good slider, just missed.
Derek Norris had a 2-run double in the first and then walked in the fourth.
Yankee fans might remember Norris when he was with the Oakland A's and was an all-star a couple of years ago.
Three and 0.
I thought it was Norris's hit in the first inning. It really started to spell trouble for Nathan Eovaldi. 2-out double that scored a couple of runs.
Swinging 3-0. Chops it foul.
And to give up the 1 run, but then he gave up 2 more when there were 2 outs.
And also to that point, the 1 run had scored off of Eovaldi. You see him talking with Joe Girardi. The 1 run had scored off of him after a couple of ground balls, weren't hit that hard, just through vacated holes due to shifts. And then Norris stepped up and smoked the double down the left field line.
Yeah, he did. You look at Joe, and Joe doing most of the talking here.
Does that look like a stern talk to you, Ken?
Let's put it this way. He's got his attention.
You don't usually see that.
No, I think he wanted to talk to him right away after he came out of the game, and he's still talking to him.
Here's the payoff to Norris. Straight back.
Joe wants to see the pitcher that he saw in May. He doesn't want to see the pitcher that he saw in June or the pitcher that he saw tonight. The pitcher in May, to me, appeared that he was going to the All-Star game. But since then, he hadn't won a game. So this has got to be frustrating, not only for Eovaldi, but certainly for his manager, who runs him out there every 5th day or so, and he's not getting results that he saw early in the season. So he knows the ability is there to win ball games.
Towering pop-up off of third. Gregorius will back up and make the play. He hung with it for the final out of the inning, but not before a couple more put on the board by the Padres. Will Myers, a scorching hot June turned July, his 19th of the year. 6-1 San Diego. Cast is presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees.
Well, you're never far from the beach here.
Bring it to the ballpark.
Sandbox here for the youngsters.
Summer games always bring plenty of kids out.
Surfboards in Southern California.
It's not the worst place to live. Teixeira rolls that foul. You know, Colin Ray threw 59 pitches through the first 3 innings, just 18 to get through the last 2.
Speaking of the surfboards there, years ago I was doing an Expos game over at Jack Murphy Stadium, and the Beach Boys were playing in concert after the game. The place was packed.
Teixeira flips that over to the left side, and Ramirez able to flag it down for the first out.
And I believe in that game the Expos scored like 10 runs in the first inning. The game was over just like that. All of those people stayed. During the course of the game, we showed shots of the stand. People were sleeping, but they weren't leaving. They were waiting for the Beach Boys to come on after the game.
It's dedication.
Yeah, it was. They were going to get their good vibrations after the game was over.
McCann looks at ball 1. McCann drives that deep center. Jankowski back. It is gone. Brian McCann has gone yard. It's a 6-2 game. And McCann wanted to take a dip into the sandbox.
Now with a 4-game hitting streak, and he's been hitting a long ball too. That's number 13 on the season for Brian McCann. As the Yankees inch a little closer. This one had the sound. Ray looks up. He's not getting that baseball back. Oh, here's a good look. Off into the San Diego night.
Pop foul. Now, if you're the Yankees, Ken, even with this deficit, you think about what you did the other night against Texas. Padres don't have their all-star caliber closer anymore, with Fernando Rodney being dealt yesterday. Still obviously a big mountain to climb, but at least a recent piece of evidence to make you think, okay. Castro hammers that diving stop by Solarte to his feet in time.
When Solarte was with the Yankees, we saw him play a little second base, and right now he's playing a lot of third, especially on this play. One step and a dive, comes up with it. The accurate throw to Myers. Good play by Solarte at third base. This ball's hit like a rocket. Even on that fast infield, he's able to glove it and make the play.
He's played second, third, first, the outfield.
Wow. I don't think we saw him in the outfield when he was with the Yankees.
No. Headley trying to take advantage of the shift. Hey, when you're down 4 runs, if they're going to give you a base runner, take it.
Yeah, especially with a hot hitter like Gregorius on deck, who just missed a home run his last time up. A lot of room over here.
Headley trying to push it far enough away from Ray, but obviously he doesn't need to hug the line with it, with where Ramirez is playing. Would you take another crack at it if you're Headley?
You know what? I don't think so, but Headley was robbed of a hit the last time. Remember he hit that rocket, and it was the shift took one away from it. So maybe he was going to take one back from the shift.
1-1. Tries to go the other way, but fouls it off.
And you know, now with 2 strikes, he's not going to do it. But he missed his opportunity. He just pushed it foul.
You know, Ken, if you went up, and you were a very good major league hitter, but if you went up with the sole intent of hitting a ground ball to one side of the infield, how often could you do it?
A lot depends on the pitcher. If he was good with his control, you could block it off and hit it the other way.
That one is hit into center. Jankowski puts it away, and that'll do it. But the Yankees do add a run. Brian McCann goes deep for the 13th time this year. For the greater coverage of baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. What a month of June Aaron Judge had. Was recognized as the International League Player of the Month. Hit .343, 9 home runs, 25 ribbies. He slugged a Zoftic, as our colleague Michael Kay would say, .686. And I'm not sure what he did tonight, Kenny, but he was in the midst of an 8-game hitting streak. Bottom of the 6th inning. Connor Malee relieved Nathan Eovaldi last inning.
So Judge is starting to come on after a slow start to the season, and maybe warming up the weather, getting closer to the Bronx.
And you know, the longer he hits like this, the heavier the conversation will become about when he makes his way to the Bronx. Headley on the move. 1 down.
Made that look easy.
Well, tough thing with Judge, too, Ken, is you want to make sure he's mastered that level. And he doesn't have to go back down.
Yeah, exactly. When you want a player, as we look at Brad Hand warming up, a left-handed for the Padres, when you bring a young player up to the big leagues, you want to be able to contribute. And you're right, not go back to the minor leagues. You don't want his confidence to be shaken in any way. It's not. I'm not saying he has to come in and just tear up the league, but he just has to be consistent and a threat when he comes to the plate and make the plays in the field.
Ryan Schimpf, big swing, fouls it back.
Yeah, I'm thinking back on my own career. When I got called up to the big leagues, I got called up in June. And I was having a great year in AAA. And I kind of forced their hand to bring me to the big leagues. But I didn't jump into the big leagues with both feet. I never went back to the minors. But it took me a couple of years to really get my footing at the big league level.
Well, there are obviously plenty of examples of guys who fireworks show going on.
fourth is getting closer.
It sure is. But plenty of guys who have come up to the big leagues, had to go back down, and then come back up and succeeded. Derek Jeter and Mariano Rivera being two prime examples.
Mickey Mantle got sent back to the minors.
That's right. Foul back our way. We will not pull a John and Susan, though. It lands below our booth.
No, it's up to you, Ryan. My days of catching baseballs are over with.
You really? Now,
I've had enough.
I fancy myself a decent athlete, Ken, but, you know, I wasn't a three-time All-Star.
Yeah, but I'm not catching any foul balls anymore.
All right, I got you, man. Schimpf fouls it off.
Now, if somebody wants to hand me one, that's fine.
I think
we'll
you actually are supposed to hand it to the fans. Yeah. That's usually the way it works.
We'll leave it up to Meredith to make the plays.
All right, fair enough. We saw yesterday John and Susan's booth was under siege from foul balls.
Really?
Yeah.
I was on an airplane coming out here.
John's microphone stand was taken off.
Actually, I actually got to watch the last part of the game here.
Well, Ken, I'll tell you what, we're going to have you covered because I know you want to see that moment with John and Susan.
Really?
Yeah. And we're people pleasers here at Yes, so in a moment you're going to get to see that. Malee working hard here against Schimpf. Has his first big league homer in this game. Now it's 3-2. The payoff? Schimpf battling. Schimpf just really doesn't want you to see the video of John and Susan. Another 3-2 offering. And another foul ball.
Malik keeps throwing strikes. Schimpf fouls them off. Let's see who's going to blink first here.
10 pitches this at bat so far. Alex Dickerson on deck, getting ready to hit in the pitcher's spot. Another 3-2. He is high, ball 4. Schimpf walks. Now let's take a look and a listen back to that moment with John and Susan yesterday.
1-1. Swung on.
We had a little accident here. Where's your microphone?
Well, it knocked my mic over. I just missed. We have a ball there. Don't worry. We have a ball. Now who are we going to give it to?
And Susan ended up giving the ball to a little kid. And everybody was okay. All parties okay at the end of that.
We're back live now. They just watched the video themselves from yesterday.
That's right. Now, meanwhile, it looks like something might have happened with Malee. Trying to say that he's fine, it looks like.
Well, it's like Richard Blyer is up in the Yankee bullpen, just in case. Joe Girardi, of course, is not going to let him go if there's anything wrong. Now, let's take a look at the last pitch. Remember, this is the 10th pitch of the at-bat. Is there any reaction? A little shake of the arm, and they're still talking it over on the mound.
Now, the pitcher spot is due up third next inning. So if Joe Girardi is going to bring in Blyer,
he might make a double switch.
That's right.
Yeah.
But his bench is very limited, as Meredith detailed before, with Alex Rodriguez and Carlos Beltran unable to play the field right now.
It looks like Headley is walking off the field. Headley made the last out, and Maliev's walking off the field as well. You might see Torres come in.
We'll step aside. Obviously, we'll have more information on Malieve as soon as it's available. Meredith will be all over that on the post game, I'm sure. We'll be back in a moment.
He'll be taking over at third base now. With the double switch, Richard Blyer, who's come in to do the pitching, will bat in Headley's spot. Headley's out of the game. That means he'll bat in the 6th spot. And Rev Snyder will now bat in the 9th spot. And you can see the numbers on Blyer this year. This will be his 9th appearance. Not really a strikeout pitcher, but he has excellent control, hasn't walked anybody. And he'll be facing a pinch hitter. Looks like Alex Dickerson will come up and hit for Colin Ray.
Well, it is July 1st, and whenever we're on a July 1st, we like to look back at July 1st, 2004. Trot Nixon at the plate, and Derek Jeter with the dive into the stands, as he said, found the only spot amongst 56,000 fans where a seat was empty.
Whoa.
And he took a shot. The game, of course, the Yankees went on to win, thanks to a walk-off hit from our colleague John Flaherty.
Yeah, he did.
Louis, there are a lot of reports that the captain's getting married this weekend. Of course, they're not going to be confirmed because that's not Derek Jeter's style.
There might be a photo that slips out somewhere.
Maybe. Perhaps on the Players Tribune, his website.
This is Alex Dickerson. We were talking about him earlier. He was recently recalled from that West Texas town of El Paso.
And Dickerson is a local kid. Went to Poway High School, right in the San Diego region. Used to go to Padres games as a kid. Remembers watching them in 1998 during that run where they eventually lost to the Yankees in the World Series, of course. Tapped in front of the plate. Blyer off the mound makes the play. Now, we mentioned that game-winning hit. We might as well show John.
You think John's up watching this?
Absolutely. John doesn't miss a pitch. Off Curtis Laskanik. And Flaherty embraced by his teammates after a thrilling end to about as good a regular season game as you will ever watch.
The thing about Flaherty, he hasn't changed a bit. Looks exactly the same. And of course, he played with the Padres for a while too.
Had an outstanding hitting streak in his first year with San Diego. Jankowski smacks that down the right field line, just foul.
I think he took, what, 27 games?
I believe that's right.
That's a heck of a streak.
Now I forget, was he traded to the Padres in the middle of his streak?
No, I think it was all with San Diego.
Yeah. Right, the hitting streak came shortly after he was done. Two outs, runner on second. Blyer trying to keep it right here, and he's ahead of Jankowski 0-2. Here was the hitting streak in 1996, June 21st to July 27th.
7 home runs, 24. That's a streak.
Locked in.
12 extra base hits. So he came from Detroit to the land of pleasant living and made the most of it.
Swing and a miss. Blyer gets Jankowski waving, and that'll do it here in the 6th. We head to the 7th. Yanks down 6-2. Sunday afternoon as the Yankees play the series finale with the Padres. Coverage begins at 3:30 with Audi batting practice today and Chevy pregame. Then we're back with the call. And remember, yes, we'll have postgame coverage after the game tomorrow night on FS1. Well, Didi Gregorius at the dish trying to help the Yankees mount another late inning comeback. And a new pitcher on the hill for San Diego is Brad Hand. Spent his first 5 years with the Marlins. First season with the Padres.
Those 52 strikeouts leads all the relievers on the Padres staff at 24 walks in 43 innings.
Gregorius skies it. Foul ground to Norris for the first out. On the GMC scoreboard, San Diego has 6-2 lead on the Yankees. Everything in the Padres bullpen shifts with the deal of Fernando Rodney.
Yeah.
It's expected that Ryan Buckner will be their closer. He's had a very good year, hard throwing lefty. And we may find out later in this game. Hicks fouls that off. Hicks trying to get going. He's just 3 for his last 31.
Yeah, he's under 200 again. I think he got as high as 220. He's gone backwards lately. You know, we see the strong arm, we see the athleticism, we see the speed, but we haven't seen the bat. And, you know, sometimes it's the last thing that comes along for a player. He gets to this level, takes him a while to figure out the pitching.
And he is receiving regular playing time over this last week or so.
Well, with Beltran being out with the tight hamstring, and of course playing in National League parks this weekend, he's going to play this weekend.
On the outside corner, 2-2. And the other thing that started getting Hicks more at bats was the decision to not automatically have Alex Rodriguez in as your DH every day. Carlos Beltran taking some of those DH days before the hamstring injury. Strike 3, Hicks down looking, and the struggles continue. Hey, tomorrow, Baseball Night in America returns with a rematch of last year's NLCS between the Cubs and the Mets at 7 o'clock Eastern on your local Fox station. Then the Yankees battle the Padres at 9:30 p.m. Eastern in a game you can only see on FS1 or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. Rob Refsnyder with his first at bat after coming in the double switch for Headley. And he looks at ball 1. Refsnyder has been scorching hot of late. Hit .333 on the homestand. He's ahead 2-0.
Over a longer stretch, he's 13 for his last 34.
.389 over his last 11 games.
Yeah, he's got a quick bat.
2-1.
Now tonight should be interesting. This is the first time we've seen him at third base since spring training, and the Yankees basically sent him to the minor leagues after his second day in a row at third. He got hit in the face with a ground ball, and he went back to the minor league camp. The Yankees wanted him to work on playing third, second, and right field, and maybe becoming the versatile type of player. And this is the first time we have seen him at third base in a big league game this year.
And of course, because of the Teixeira injury, he ended up adding first base to his repertoire.
Exactly.
A 2-2. Strike 3 got him looking. And Brad Hand works a 1-2-3-7. To the bottom of the 7th we go. Padres holding a 4-run cushion. After dark, as we take a look at the game summary. Nathan Eovaldi jumped on early by the Padres as his struggles continue. Colin Ray able to find it tonight. He's had a rough year, an ERA over 5, but 6 innings of 4-hit ball. Will Myers and Derek Norris doing the big damage for the Padres. And here is Myers after an 11 home run June. He begins July with a home run. Facing Blyer on the GMC scoreboard, 6-2 San Diego. You know, Myers has said he absolutely wants to participate in the home run derby here at Petco. And you would think that he probably will be on the team.
I would think so.
Even though it's a tough position.
Yeah.
You would also think that if he wants to participate, he's worthy of being a home run derby candidate this year.
Who are the candidates? And I think they subtracted one when they traded Fernando Rodney.
That's to make the All-Star team representing the Padres.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. I would say it's him and Rodney who you were looking at. Now that Rodney's gone, I don't know if there's another player you'd throw in the mix.
Matt Kemp, maybe. 16 homers, 53 runs batted in. Maybe.
Maybe.
But at this point, I would say Myers is definitely going to be there. I mean, this is his town right now.
It's a tough position because you have Paul Goldschmidt, Brandon Bell,
Anthony Rizzo.
That's right.
Yeah, don't forget him.
But Myers is having an outstanding season. And you know, for him, Ken, he's talked about really thinking this is just a byproduct of being healthy. He was Rookie of the Year a couple seasons ago, as you talked about earlier, in Tampa. And then he had wrist injuries back-to-back years. Different wrists, but essentially cut his seasons in half. And this year finally feels good again. I've made one slight adjustment at the plate, and clearly it's working out.
Oh, goodness. Been on base 3 times tonight.
Dave Winfield checking out the action. He's waiting for the Beach Boys concert afterwards.
Oh, man. What a player. He could do everything.
I'll tell you what, that's a great shirt he's wearing, too.
Power, speed, great throwing arm. And a big man, 6'6".
He still has that presence, too.
Yeah, yeah. I was talking to Dave Winfield before the game about a home run he hit off Mike Flanagan.
Yeah.
At the old Yankee Stadium. And I was playing right field. He crushed this ball to left center, and it just kept going. Took off like a jet. And when Flanagan came back to the dugout,
drill to right center. Ellsbury has room and flags it down for the first out.
When Flanagan came back to the dugout, all the other pitchers had their hands over their mouths trying not to laugh about how far and how quickly that ball got out of the ballpark.
Yeah. That's one where you bring it up later on, too. Hey, Flanny, you remember that, that ball that Dave Winfield hit?
I'm standing out in right field. I'm thinking, where is this ball going?
And Hervis Solarte's had a big season and a big night. You know, Dave Winfield isn't the only former Yankee / San Diego connector that we've seen tonight. David Wells.
Yeah.
In the building hanging out.
Boomer.
He came by, spent some time in the booth before the game.
You know, we had a nice talk with Boomer before the game. Of course, he mentioned his friend Coney back in New York.
He manages his high school team, Point Loma.
Great jump.
Yeah, Myers is there. And it goes into center field. Myers going to take off. Ellsbury not going to try.
Got a great jump on the left-hander. Look at this. He's well down the line to second base. McCann really no chance. But you look at Ellsbury, a little late backing up. And that enables Myers to go to third, who was actually late on the ground, didn't know where the ball was. Takes him a while to realize it's in center field and takes off for third. And that's going to force the Yankees to bring the infield in. I think Ellsbury should have been a little bit more Johnny on the spot in backing up.
So instead of a runner on second, now obviously Solarte can get this run in without a hit. Might have went around there. He did not.
Pat Holberg, the first base umpire, said he did not swing. We get another look, and I believe that's the right call.
Yep. The 3-1. Ball four. Runners on the corners now, with one out for Melvin Upton Jr. Joe Girardi is going to go to his bullpen.
He wants a right-hander to face. Looks like another double switch here. Yankees, as you said, they don't have too many moves.
No, they do not. The pitcher right now would be in Chase Headley's spot, the 6th spot. Swarzak is coming in. We'll get you the rest of the details in a moment. Another pitching change here in San Diego with the Padres up 4. Vios is not cable. We're wired differently. Visit getvios.com. Ivan Nova trying to figure out his own struggles going up against Drew Pomeranz, one of the few starters in San Diego's rotation that's had success this year. Now, Yankees extra innings coverage on gas will happen following the game on FS1. Anthony Swarzak into the game for the Yankees. It'll be his 9th appearance. Good strikeout to walk ratio.
Very good slider. Former Minnesota Twin.
And Ronald Torreyes takes over at third base for Rob Refsnyder. So Swarzak will now bat 9th. Torreyes hits in the 6th spot in the lineup. Yankees will have the top of the order batting in the top of the 8th. There's Torreyes. Got his first start in about 3 weeks yesterday. A difficult spot here for Swarzak. Strike one.
Well, we were talking about the limited moves that Joe Girardi has, and I believe that's about it, because you've got A-Rod maybe as a pinch hitter. Carlos Beltran, if he pinch hits and gets on, who's going to run for him now? You know, that's
right.
And Austin Romine, the backup catcher, you certainly don't want to use him if you can avoid it. Good stop by McCann on the breaking ball.
A-Rod waiting for his chance. Swarzak trying to keep this game right here. Wave and a miss.
And think about Upton Jr. over the years. A lot of strikeouts. Unless he hits the ball hard at one of the infielders, he's going to be tough to double up. He runs very, very well. We're going back to his Tampa Bay days.
The 1-2. And Upton just stays alive.
I mentioned earlier in the game that when Baltimore was here, that Adam Jones led off the game with a home run.
Yeah.
In the bottom of the inning, Melvin Upton Jr. was leading off. He hit a home run.
Yes, he did.
But he trumped Adam Jones's homer. It went off the backdrop in center field, 465 feet off of Ubaldo Jimenez.
Later in the game, he made a spectacular catch, robbing a home run, and then firing to first for a double play. Yeah.
That was against J.J. Hardy.
He had a nice afternoon.
Yeah, he did. The ball went beyond the hedges there in center field that you just saw. Way back over here somewhere. Whoop.
Lined, fell. Still 2-2 on Upton Jr.
Saw Upton Jr. go to the opposite field for his first hit of the night, drove in a run in the first inning. I should say his only hit of the night.
The 2-2. Right back to the mound. Swarzak will look at the runner and chase Myers back. He's in a rundown. Torreyes will tag him out. Can he throw to third for the double play? No. Sliding in safely is Solarte. So Myers does a good job to stay in the rundown long enough to allow Solarte to get to third. But Swarzak makes the right play. And the second out retired without a run scored.
Well, there was not going to be a double play the conventional way because Upton runs well, ball not hit very hard. Swarzak makes the proper decision, as you said. That play goes 1-5, and Myers is retired at almost. They get the runner at third base. Solarte is able to get in there. We see it on Yesmo. Reaches in with the left hand, and he's there. So Myers is retired 1-5. Nice play by Swarzak.
Runners remain on the corners. Swarzak will face Derek Norris. A 2-run double, a walk. Upton going, and not even a throw from McCann. Upton has it easily.
That's his 19th of the year. He's in the top 5 in the National League in stolen bases.
Allows Swarzak to be a little more careful with Norris here. Not that Alexi Ramirez is.
He'll have a bat in his hand when he steps up there.
That much more preferred. Though Norris has been somewhat hot of late.
I think he's hitting like 16 of his last 22. So
that's right.
He's been hitting the ball pretty well lately.
211 on the season, but 275 in June.
Yeah, well, that means he was below 200.
That's right. And already a 2-run double tonight, and ahead in this count 2-0. Wave and a miss. Nice delivery from Swarzak. Trying to keep it right here and give the Yankees a little hope going into the 8th. Two-one. Gets away from McCann. Solarte will score easily. It's 7-2 Padres.
Now let's see if McCann talks to Swarzak here. I don't know if this is a cross-up or not. Looks like he's not going to talk to him. So this is probably just a pass ball. Looks like, yeah, McCann tried to backhand. Looked like that ball had a little sink to it. Breaks off his glove. It's a pass ball, and the Padres are going to pick up another run.
You know, Ken, that is very similar to the pass ball that the Yankees won against Texas yesterday. Off the inside of the glove. Trying to catch it backhanded instead of.
Looked like that ball had a little run to it, and McCann didn't. If you ask him, he should have made that play.
And it is a pass ball. Popped up in the infield. Teixeira will make the catch, so Swarzak does a very nice job with the pass ball. Gives the Padres another insurance run as we head to the 8th. Padres a 7-2 lead over the Yankees. Ryan Rucco, Ken Singleton, Meredith Marakovitz with you. Appreciate you staying up late on the East Coast to be with us tonight as Ryan Buchter comes into the game. Whose thoughts maybe he would be the closer, replacing Francisco Rodney, traded yesterday, but instead it's Brandon Maurer, who manager Andy Green has tapped with that assignment. So Buchter stays in his normal spot. He's had a really nice year setting up.
Yeah, he has. Opponents are hitting just what, 186 against him.
And he is lined up to face back-to-back lefties. Ellsbury, an RBI single in the second. Reached on catcher's interference in the first and a ground out to second in the fifth. In his career, Buchter has held lefties to a 136 batting average.
That's one reason he's in here right now.
That's right. Righties have hit 211 off of him.
3 of the first 4 scheduled hitters are lefties for the Yankees, at Teixeira being a switch hitter.
Swing and a miss from Ellsbury, 1-2.
You know, when you think about the Padres trading Fernando Rodney, they got a prospect for him, but the prospect is not major league ready. He's going to be in the minor leagues for a while. Very good young pitcher.
Yep.
But you can see the Padres thinking they're in last place. Let's try and restock, because we can finish last without Fernando Rodney.
See Andy Green,
Mark McGwire,
yeah.
bench coach.
Ellsbury shoots that foul down the left field line. Well, Ken, that was kind of the mentality of GM A.J. Preller. A couple of years ago, he went for it, thought they had enough talent around this group that if he brought in some pieces, they might be able to mix into a real contender. Didn't work.
No.
Started unloading some of the pieces, and this year has been unloading even more. Ellsbury knew it.
You know, in this era of interleague play going back to 1997, we've mentioned many times that the Yankees have had the best record in interleague play. On the opposite end of the spectrum is the San Diego Padres. They've had the worst record in interleague play. Since '97, the Yankees have only had 3 seasons where they've had a losing record in interleague play. The Padres have only had 3 seasons where they had a winning record in interleague play. But tonight, the Padres have the upper hand.
And another one of these statistical oddities. Obviously, there's some real logic behind that. The Yankees have been a very good team for a long time. San Diego has not. But the Padres have been very good in series openers this season. They're 16-10 in series openers, yet they're 19 games under 500 following that.
So you're saying the second and third game of series, or even the fourth game, that doesn't go very well.
I'm saying Ivan Nova feels good right now.
Yeah, all right.
Gardner ducks a little bit out of the way of that one. You mentioned Mark McGwire before, Ken.
Yeah.
First year as a bench coach.
Yeah, he'd been hitting coach in St. Louis and LA. Yeah.
Yep. 3 years apiece at each of them. Andy Green just raves about Mark McGwire's baseball acumen. Gardner fouls that straight back. And McGwire actually won the home run derby here back in 1992. You see the resume. Very impressive. Obviously partially enhanced by his admitted steroid use. But he was reminiscing the other day about that home run derby here. As Gardner, not a good looking swing, strikes out for the 3rd time tonight.
Yeah, you see an example of what Buchter brings to the Buchter brings to the table against lefties. Swing and a miss. Watch the front side open up. Just trying to spoil that pitch and foul it off, and couldn't do so.
And Gardner down swinging. There's Teixeira, 2 outs, nobody on. Popped up, Foul ground. That will just make it into the dugout. Will Myers flirted with it and nearly out of play.
Good effort by the Padres first baseman, leaning over the rail. Just out of his reach. And just maintained his ability to stay on the field. Almost got back in the dugout a little sooner than he should have.
I don't think his teammates had the best read on where that was going to land. They put themselves in a very precarious situation.
McGuire was reminiscing about that 92 home run derby that he won here in San Diego, and he said the funny thing was, you know, after you competed in it, it was on tape delay. So people didn't see it until much later on. He could watch it live on TV later on.
Times have changed.
Yes, they have. The Yankees go down 1-2-3. Mark McGuire's squad with a 5-run lead as we go to the bottom of the 8th. On the Hyundai scoreboard, Anthony Swarzak stays out there for the Yankees. Did a nice job last inning coming in with men on base, and if not for the Brian McCann pass ball, very likely would have escaped trouble without allowing a run. Alexi Ramirez will lead off. He's 0 for 3. First game of a 10-game road trip for the Yankees. 3 different cities. On to Chicago after this, and then Cleveland. 3 different time zones. Also was an odd 7:40 local start tonight.
It's not only the 3 different time zones, but when the Yankees leave here on Sunday, they're scheduled to get to Chicago like 1 a.m. Central Time, and they got a day game on July 4th against the White Sox. So that's going to be a quick turnaround. I mean, they're skipping 2 time zones. And to me, maybe 1 time zone is okay, but 2 is a little bit more difficult to handle. I mean, I don't know if many people can walk in a hotel and fall asleep in 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, it's not the way it works.
But you got to try on that particular night. And to me, that's the sort of thing that we saw it a couple of weeks ago. The Twins played on the West Coast a night game and had to play the Yankees the next day or next night in Minnesota. They didn't get until like 5:30 in the morning. So that sort of thing shouldn't happen. But I have said all along the schedule is more difficult to navigate now than it was years ago.
Popped up to Shera for the first out. Ken, how would you acclimate yourself to the West Coast when you guys used to come out?
Yeah, well, like I said, it was a little different in those days because we usually had a day off to get here. And number two, when we got here, we stayed out here for 10 days to almost 2 weeks because of the fact that you went to all 3 cities. So you got acclimated to the time zone, and then you flew back east, usually another off day when you got there, and then the Western teams would come east to play. So it was a little easier to navigate the schedule back in those days. And as far as coming out here the first night, I tried to stay up as late as I could to get on West Coast time. And just sit there and watch a late movie or something.
Charging in is Castro for the second out. So we're talking 3 in the morning or whatever it might be, trying to stay up and make sure.
I remember watching Body Heat with William Hurt at 3 o'clock in the morning. I wasn't going to fall asleep on that movie.
That's the kind of movie that keeps you up. Brett Wallace pinch hitting in the pitcher's spot. 5 home runs on the season. Not the ideal time for the Yankees to deal with a road trip like that.
Yeah.
They are, as Brett Gardner talked about earlier with me, they are at that point where they need to pile some together.
Yeah. As I said before, how many times have they gotten to 500 this year? I mean, they dug themselves a hole in April, fought back, got to 500. That was the 3rd, maybe 4th time they've gotten to 500. And each time they've fallen back under.
They got a game over.
Yeah.
The high water mark is 2 games over. Back when they were 4-2. At the very beginning of the season, obviously. Three-1 on Wallace. Lineup turns over to Travis Jankowski after Wallace.
Padres signed Wallace as a minor league free agent last year, and he did a pretty good job for them in 61 games. He hit over 300.
Strike 2.
In the National League, you get many more pinch hitting opportunities. Managers like to have that option on the bench. You come into either a left-handed or right-handed guy off the bench to do some damage.
Swing and a miss. Nice job by Swarzak. A 1-2-3-8. We head to the 9th. Yankees hoping for some 9th inning magic. Didn't have that beard when he was a Yankee.
No, that's why I didn't recognize him at first when he came in the game. But then I watched him throw the ball, and the veteran has been around for a long, long time.
Was with the Yankees the first half of the 2014 season and then was waived.
His fastball velocity is down significantly this season. But as you can see, the numbers are still okay.
Yeah, the .310 batting average against.
Not ideal. The ERA is still a respectable 3.48. (2-0) on McCann, who homered his last at bat. Alex Rodriguez getting ready to hit, perhaps for Ronald Torreyes, who is due to bat third this inning. McCann ahead 3-0. Down 5, he won't be swinging.
Didn't have to.
Yeah, there wasn't a choice anyway. Hey, fans, immediately following the game, catch the WB Mason postgame on Yes. Bob Lorenz back in the studio for a complete recap of tonight's matchup with the Padres, plus scores and highlights from around the league. It's only on Yes After Dark.
You know, I think it was Bob Lorenz who coined that phrase, Yes After Dark.
It was.
Yeah.
It was also Bob who was nice enough to let me know I left a pair of shoes in his office last time I was in the studio. Left my dress shoes.
Shoeless Ryan Rucco?
That's right.
You went home without shoes.
I changed into sandals. I left my shoes. Right in Bob's office, under his desk.
Were you trying to send Bob a message?
No. Bob lets me hang out in his office when I'm doing studio.
I got you.
And like the animal I am, I left my shoes behind. It made for a funny text message exchange between Bob and I.
I can imagine. I know Bob's sense of humor.
1-2 on Castro. McCann off first. 2-2.
Fastball at 91 miles an hour. A few years ago, Thornton was able to whip it up there in the mid-90s.
Castro reaching, just stays alive. Brandon Maurer is up in the San Diego pen. He, for the time being, is actually going to be the one to take the closer duties. He's also a right-hander. And perhaps if Castro reaches, he would face Alex Rodriguez, who's had much more success against lefties this season. The 2-2. That's foul.
Now, this game might have come down, for me, Ryan, to the first inning. The Yankees left the bases loaded. They had an opportunity to get on the board first. And then at the bottom of the first, the Padres came out and scored 3 against Nathan Eovaldi. And 2 of those scored with 2 outs. And that kind of set the tone for the evening.
Sure did. Nice play by A-Rod to snare that foul tip back. Well, and in that first as well, Mark Teixeira dropped a hit into right center field that Jacoby Ellsbury got a very poor read on, did not score from second base, and then was stranded there when Headley grounded out hard to second to end the inning with the bases loaded. Castro again just waving to stay alive on that outside corner.
Now, it has been duly noted over the years that the team that scores first more often than not wins the game, no matter what inning it is.
Yankees had that opportunity.
Look out.
Hey now. Castro leaped out of the way. We'll see where it caught him.
Maybe in the chest. He was just able to spoil that pitch away, and I'm sure he was kind of looking out there again. Looked like it caught just underneath the New York on his uniform. Well, he almost walked into one here.
Now you hear the reaction from the crowd. That was not to the hit batter. That's for Alex Rodriguez in his first at bat here.
He's hitting for Torres.
Had some good swings against righties yesterday and a couple of hard hits. Now bats with 2 on, nobody out here in the 9th. Rodriguez grounds one through into right field. It's a base hit. McCann will come around to score. A pinch hit RBI single against the shift from Rodriguez. And suddenly it is a 7-3 game with 2 on and nobody out.
Well, we talked about the quick infield, and you look at the shift. The right side is kind of open, and A-Rod takes advantage of it. And the Yankees inch a little closer.
And Alex Rodriguez now tied with Dave Winfield. 19th on baseball's all-time hit list. Dave Winfield was in the building tonight. And still is. Enjoying some M&Ms. Well, Matt Thornton sees 3 hitters. They all reach base. That means it's time for Brandon Maurer, the new Padres closer, to come on. No Fernando Rodney, dealt yesterday by the Padres, and Andy Green has tabbed Maurer to be his new closer. His ERA is less than robust at 5.73. He does throw very hard, though, an average fastball velocity of over 95 miles an hour.
You can tell he throws very well. 47 strikeouts in 37 2/3 innings. He's actually fared better against left-handed batters than righties this year, which is kind of a backwards split.
The Yankees showing some life here in the 9th. 2 on, no outs, 1 in, and an 0-1 count on Gregorius.
Started him off with a slider and drops it in there for a called strike.
Gregorius hammers that fair down the right field line. Castro will come around. Rodriguez lumbers into third, and Didi Gregorius with an RBI double And the Yankees' heart keeps beating here in the ninth.
Didi had already extended a hitting streak to 5 consecutive games. He's been one of the hottest hitters, not only on the Yankees, but just in the league in general. And he picks up his 37th run batted in. That ball about a foot or two fair. Matt Kemp's going to have to run it down. And the Yankees, they will bring the tying run to the plate.
Right now in the form of Aaron Hicks, who takes ball 1. And Carlos Beltran has come out into the on-deck circle to hit in the pitcher's spot. The 1-0 catches the outside corner for a strike. We talked about Hicks's struggles. 3 for his last 32. Grounds this one to short. Rodriguez will come home and score. Hicks is just thrown out. And it's a 7-5 game now with a runner on third and 1 out for Beltran.
Here's a look at the ground ball. It's going to give the Yankees another run. Hicks just thrown out at first base. Hustling down the line. Here-Rod crosses.
And now the Yankees send their best hitter to the plate as the tying run. This season, Carlos Beltran 0 for 4 as a pinch hitter. In his career, .214 with 2 pinch hit home runs. And it'll be interesting to see what happens if he does reach base.
Yeah.
Because he, right now, is, for the most part, unable to run. The Yankees will worry about that one and if it happens.
Well, you can always put a pitcher in to run for him as much as you might not want to. That might be the option that Joe Girardi has as opposed to using Austin Romine.
The 0-1 gets away from Norris. Here comes Gregorius. He scores, and it's a 1-run game.
I believe this is going to be a wild pitch. In the dirt, off the chest protector, gets away, not all that far. And Gregorius got a great jump off the third. And he's in there easily, not even a throw.
3 runs already in. Make it 4 in the ninth. Yankees trailed 7-2 entering the inning. Alex Rodriguez perhaps will end up needing a glove. Beltran lines that into the gap in left center field. That will get down and 1 hop off the wall. Beltran jogs into second. He is there as the tying run with a double.
Well, all season long, he's been the Yankees' best hitter. And he runs his 16th double to the gap in left center field. Remember, he's the tying run. We'll see how the Yankees play it from here. This is going to split the gap in left center field. And right now, Beltran is standing at second base, representing the tying run. With 1 out here in the 9th inning. And remember, this guy's got a bum hamstring. It's not feeling 100%. And the Yankees seem to be reluctant to put anybody in the run for it.
Remember, Meredith said Carlos Beltran was going to run out, do some drills before the game, see how it felt. Maybe it felt okay. Nonetheless, it won't be easy to get him home from second on a base hit. The pitch to Ellsbury, big cut and a miss. The Padres already feeling the loss of Fernando Rodney. The closer who had given up just 1 run all year, traded yesterday, and the Yankees mounting a comeback against this reworked bullpen. The 0-1. Now, after Alex Rodriguez scored, watch Joe Girardi say, "Get your glove."
What? What?
He hasn't had to use one of those in a while. But the Yankees are hoping he does. Ellsbury grounds one to second. Schimpf makes the play. Beltran on to third, and that'll leave it up to Gardner.
Now, I know that you would like to have seen a base hit there, but actually it makes it a little easier for Beltran to score from third base on a base hit as it would have been him scoring from second with a bad leg, where he could actually maybe even re-injure himself. So base hit here, he can basically trot home.
And it'll be left to Brett Gardner, who has not looked good at the plate tonight. 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. But a chance to erase that here.
Well, the Yankee bench has come alive, especially Alex Rodriguez, who's hoping he gets a chance to use that glove.
Mauer delivers. Ball 1. 18 of 19 Yankees had been retired entering the 9th. But the Yankees have put up 4 runs and have the tying run on third with 2 outs as Mauer faces Gardner. The 1-0, strike 1. Many of this crowd had gone home. Some still remain nervous.
What a great shot.
That man hoping for the comeback. The 1-1, nub foul, and Gardner's behind 1-2.
Just about everybody on their feet in the Yankee dugout.
Beltran, the tying run on third. Gardner trying to bring him home and complete this comeback here in the 9th. The 1-2. Fouled away by Gardner. He stays alive.
A good pitch by Mauer over the outside corner. Gardner spoiled it. You can see Yankee dugout on their feet. Fans on their feet here at Petco Park. Yeah, that was too close to take.
This guy is just trying to survive.
Oh my goodness.
So is Gardner. Behind in the count, 1-2. The pitch. Grounded to short. This should do it. Ramirez ends it. And the Yankees comeback falls short. 7-6 the final. San Diego wins it. A lot of late magic from the Yankees as they put up a 4 spot in the 9th. Have Carlos Beltran on second with 1 out. But Ellsbury and Gardner unable to deliver. We'll be back to wrap things up in a moment as the Padres lock down a 7-6 win.